I think that when I create Kapap is when I come out from the top counter-terrorist unit in Israel and one of the five best in the world. And I choose to open my academy in Serbia, first because I'm Serbian, my wife is Serbian, and second, I think Serbia is one of the best places in the world. Even people don't understand it, but I travel all over the world. This is a very, very good place. We still didn't lost all our values.
Veliki pozdrav svim gledalcima Arena Fight, dobrodošli u još jedan Arena Fight intervju. Danas razgovaramo sa čovekom koji je, ajde mogu da kažem, sensei koji putuje. Tako je možda najbolje da ga predstavim, čovek koji je instruktor brojnih borilačkih veština, a i kreator ujedno jednih od njih. Sa nama danas razgovara gospodin AVI NARDIA. AVI, first of all, welcome to Arena Fight TV.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I've introduced you to our public as Sensei on the road. Is maybe the best explanation.
Title. It's the best title. Yeah, for more than 25 years, I travel all over the world to share knowledge with schools all over the world. And people count how many times I circled the globe, and a lot. And normally I also write articles about my visit in different countries to also expose their culture, their opinions. People are different, and to create much more understanding about martial art, but also culture, and martial art is a part of culture.
Yeah, you've been in many countries in the world, and we're going to talk about that later, but we need to start from the beginning. What introduced you to martial arts?
You know, I will say it in a rude way, but once you became one cell of a sperm swimming, that's your first martial art. You know, you had to fight all the other thousands, you know, and swim, and you're not tied with the egg and to born. So everyone that you see here, you already won a fight, the real fight for their life. My second fight for my life was once I born, my mom say I had more pipes than a baby because I was immediately in the emergency room, need to fight for my life. And I think that this maybe was my spirit to born and to be a real fighter. It's not to, I see my mom, when she died from cancer, she never complained. She just took it like a man, you know, like she would never ask to feel sorry for herself. And I think a warrior is something inside you. Sometimes I think you can develop a people to be a warrior, but no, it's very limited. If they don't have the heart of the warrior, it will be difficult. And I have people in a wheelchair that are more warrior than people maybe, you know, play soldiers.
So, what introduced you to Kapap martial art?
My brother first, when I came from the hospital, he tried to throw me from the balcony, okay? So, when you grow up in a house that you have a big brothers, that's your first martial art school. You know, all day fighting. And then my father, which was the first Israeli commando with red paratrooper wing, which is very rare, only few people have. And he was carry like 5 wars and tough guy. I'm a clown, I like to joke. And to survive in this kind of environment, you're more tough than they think that you are, you know. You're very kind, you're very nice, very polite, but once the ghosts go out, you better run. So my father introduced me to what we call today Kapap, but it was a mix because in the 60s, what we name as a Kapap included some part of judo, ukemi, like rolling from judo, basic throw, like osotogari, the most basic throw. And I didn't like it, honestly, because as a child, he forced me to punch, to make my hands stronger, and it's pain. I didn't like it, so you can say later on when judo was exposed in Israel, slowly, I fall in love because I saw, oh, that's how I want to fight. I don't want to fight force to force. I want that you first come and I throw you away from me. So even Kapap was my first. I always say I improved my Kapap. So what we call the today Kapap, it's not the same Kapap, but the spirit of Kapap, which is never give up and to be a warrior, on the same time to keep the ethic, the moral, but then mixing with traditional martial art, it makes the system very powerful. And in the last few years, I do also BJJ. I'm a 4th-degree black belt BJJ, and I'm also doing Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, and I did Judo. But now what we call Kapap actually is not Kapap, because for me Kapap is a short-term training. It is, you cannot give belts, because in the army you don't get belts. In the command you don't get belts. The first time I give belts was in Jiu-Jitsu in my unit in Yamam, to the first maybe 8 people that they were be tested with Hanshi Patrick McCarthy, and we decided to give them black belt. But normally there's no belt when you go to the army in Krav Maga or whatever you call it. And this is why I create the Israeli Jiu-Jitsu, like Grandmaster Denis Hanover. So it's a mix of different things, but in the Krav Maga or Kapap originally, there were not ranks, there was no belts. So also there was no kids program, because it's, so if you create a new program, you cannot call it Kapap or Krav Maga, because this is the traditional, this is the army style. So I don't punch you, I have the gun, I have a malfunction, I hit you, or you grab my gun, I do different maneuvers to free it and to keep fighting, because I had a malfunction. Because with a gun, I want to shoot, I don't want to start to do hand-to-hand. So actually, we create the Israeli Jiu-Jitsu, and later on the integrated Jiu-Jitsu, which mixing Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, Sambo, and that's why we can give a belt, because it's a Jiu-Jitsu and you can give belt. That's basically the progressive we had.
Yeah, you mentioned the Krav Maga. Right now, the people usually mess Krav Maga with Kapap. Actually, the Kapap started in 30s, am I right? Then
Yes.
later it became Krav Maga, but the modern Kapap, it isn't same like Krav Maga.
The old style, you can see like a lot of wrestler, boxer that been in the old days, and like Gershon Kopler, but he died in a situation, we call it Chaf Gimel Yodea Shira. It's like a boat that they sent to Lebanon to attack the oil field, and they say 23, but it was 24, because they were also British officer, but they hide it. Only late years, the history again revealed the real truth. And Gershon Kopler was training them to go to this secret operation, and then one of them got sick. He says, I train you, I must go. And actually he died. A lot of those people, they died in the battle. Michel Horowitz, which developed the stick fighting of the Kapap, I met him when he was very old, and I gave him my DVDs and my book, and he was surprising. He said, oh, it's 10 times above our level. But in that meeting, he showed me the old manual books with old pictures of them. And then he also showed me a manual book called Combative of Dr. Moshe Feldenkrais. And this book, Combative, was made in 1930 to the British Army by a Jewish. And later on it was renewed, and it's called Hadaka Jime. Hadaka Jime is this kind of a choke, you know, that this go here and you choke like this. And how you can use it as a military. So all the book is called Hadaka Jime, but it's based on the combative manual book of Moshe Feldenkrais. Moshe Feldenkrais was a doctor, PhD, in the Sorbonne University. He was the first judoka in France to get a black belt from Jigoro Kano. And he showed to Jigoro Kano his book, and he liked it, because for street fight you don't need to be a good judoka, you know, it could be medium judo, and we always say that a judo black belt, you punch him in the face, is a brown belt. But at the same time, if a judoka throw you here on the concrete, a black belt BJJ or whatever, or karate guy will become a white belt too. So that's the hardest punch. So what I see is to respect all martial art. Every martial art brings something good. Every culture brings something good. But sometimes when we mix them, we bring war, don't forget. But basically, Moshe Feldenkrais was the first, I think, high-level Israeli martial artist in Israel. But because judo, he had a lot of back problem, and he created a system called Feldenkrais, that later on I found it like in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we do Ginasca Natural, Alvaro Romano, Orlando Cani, biogymnastica, and it's a method to move your body in different moves, like a stretching, like to get it stronger. And Moshe Feldenkrais, I remember him as a kid. First he teach the Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion, to stand on the head. But it's not to stand, it's a part of Gymnastica Natural, different exercise between balance, stretching, and he created Feldenkrais more as a body mechanism. I call it muscle confusion, how to confuse your muscle to keep them developed. Because if you go to the gym and you do every day like this, 40 kilo, you don't progress anywhere. And it's also not right, because even when I go to the gym, they do this, and I'm always doing it like that. And the coach comes and said, no, I said, no, don't teach. Because in martial art, I always use other muscles as well. It's called cheating system. You don't do just this, I cheat with all my body. So it's a totally different system to develop. But Moshe Feldenkrais, even now in France, the head of the secretary judo in France, it's his student. So imagine, and the guy moved to Israel. You have even interviewed that he was laughing about the old days. People think they can fight hand to hand, and all of them died because it's not work against weapons so easy. And this is the other problem, for example, with martial art, that sometimes it gives people a false confidence that they can do anything. Watch out from a street fight. It's totally different. Self-defense is totally different. But I think that a lot of the real names, like Gershon Kopler, Michel Horowitz, stick fight, before I was coming to the market and wrote about them, everyone think martial art Israeli was made only by one person. I said, definitely not. There's so many other contributors, and there's also today so many leaders. And I don't try to say somebody is less, I just say there's different contributors. So when you say Krav Maga, which Krav Maga, who's leader? I mean, there's a very famous leader. He was a military driver. It means I was a major, so I have to concentrate on work. I have a driver come pick me from the house, take me to meeting. He never go to Lebanon when we go to Lebanon because his military skill is down. But now he's a big shot of Krav Maga because everyone want to buy certificates, and there's so many organization that I always, not with me. I don't care if people go, not with me, because I think martial art, you should have also more character to be a fighter, not to, I don't hang around with everyone. Even my friends, sometimes they say, if they are your students or if you hang with them, it's already passed the test. Because a lot of time people like, hey, brother, gdesi, brate, and this, but you know, they are your enemies, you know? So, the Israeli martial art, I say, is way more sophisticated. We still don't find all the names. I just found out in Slovakia, my students sent me about David Ehrlich, and he was like a world, Europe champion for wrestling. And then you see pictures of them, and you see also Imi, the founder of Krav Maga, one organization is the third, and then David is here. So it's not that there was one founder. It's like when you go to Japanese martial art and you see Jigoro Kano was not the only one. But sometimes, by the way, politics push one more than the others, because you got into position and you know, you same thing like your start life, you elbow everyone. Because sometimes I walk, and I'm not trying to insult Jigoro Kano, but I saw Mifune, I saw Kimura. They were much stronger martial artists than him, but he became famous. I just wrote about BJJ. On the same time, BJJ Gracie, there was also Fada, but nobody know him because he was teaching in the poor neighborhood, and he concentrate on population that don't have money. And also, he was famous because he have students with no legs and handicap, and he still put them in championship. But you see, when you take over, you don't mention the other people. So now in BJJ, people found out that there was also, as the Gracie, there's a clan of Fada. I belong to Machado in BJJ. So people sometimes don't know the difference, but there's always difference. The difference is start with the teacher. You know, everyone has a driving license, but some people don't know to drive. So the difference is who's the teacher, what is the value and moral that he give, other than just the techniques. And I choose my way, I choose my teachers. And it's another thing. Sometimes I read on the internet, people is my teacher. This guy come to my club, my white belt whip the floor with him. Since when is my teacher? But you know, people invent history, people invent stories that never been. And the media is, mostly today, the social media is a disaster. If you come tomorrow and you write that you're a grandmaster and you pay to some company that push you and you have suddenly 5,000 likes and no one, and 5 videos on, and you're nobody. I work my way, I'm 64 years old. I work my way all the way. Either 8 years in Japan, famous people know who I am, but they're famous because like Denino Santo, Joe Machado, Machado, they all know who I am. And that's different than somebody that, I don't know, is a YouTube sensei, which we have today, unfortunately, a lot. And the next is the certificate. It's more easy to sell today's certificate than to stand on the mat and to teach 100 students, because immediately you pay me. I saw a guy, he came to me, I don't want to bash the other club, but he paid $5,000 for a blue belt. And he go for 1 week in Los Angeles to some famous BJJ. And again, I don't want to mention name, but after 1 week, he come back with a blue belt. I'm going to Singapore, and the guy, his name is Chai. He asked me if I will recognize his blue belt. I said, bring the gi, bring the belt, we play, and we will see. The guy come, he put this, and once he put the belt, he took it from the back to the front. And I'm like, oh God, the opposite, no? So when he take it like this and he make a tie, the belt go like that. And I said, the guy even don't know to tie a belt, but he put $5,000 to some famous master. And I see people getting 6 done from famous people because it's more easy to make money by selling belts, selling this. My teacher never charged me on belt. I was in Singapore, I give belt now to my guy in Sri Lanka, to my guy, girl in Germany, to my guy in Singapore. I never charge for belts. It's my honor. The guy trained very hard, long time, okay? You deserve it.
Is maybe that the main problem right now in martial arts, that coaches only see money, not the
Yeah, I wish it will be the only problem in martial art. But the martial art problem is that you say coaches, and I say sensei. So I don't call myself coach on the road, I'm a sensei on the road. When I teach, there's much more values than just to be a coach. I don't teach only techniques. So you have to teach, it's like when I teach anything, because like I said, the short courses like Krav Maga, Kapap, firearm, CQB, VIP protection, surveillance, counter-surveillance, security management, security analyze, risk analyze. All of those courses are professional, they're short, and in this you get certificate, you don't get ranks. And we put it under CDC, Close Distance Combat. The reason is there's no CDC before AVI NARDIA. So anybody that will come now from Israel or whenever, crooks, and claim they are also doing Kapap, because Kapap was not exist. It was exist in the old days. I renewed the name. When I start like to come out to the market, I didn't want to use the name Krav Maga to conflict with other system and to confuse. But everyone from Krav Maga, they bought my DVDs and start to copy. If I do different things, says first, oh, it's not Krav Maga. Next day, they're all doing what I told them to do. So in the end, I'm also win because my goal is to save life, not to argue with idiots. But the CDC is another name that I just put it, that it contains, for example, Octopus. Octopus is a non-lethal program that I put for Africa. I worked for a long time in Africa. They want programs, no lethal, no weapon. So these are programs. These are not system, like a big system, like integrated jiu-jitsu. But when you do integrated jiu-jitsu, you have to have all of this knowledge. So many times, like now I go to US, I will teach surveillance, counter-surveillance. I'll teach VIP protection for family, how to protect your family from VIP protection. But the students actually, because they are civilians, they're also coming with a gi. And again, gi, no gi for me is the same. We can do gi, no gi. But in the end, they're also moving more and more into jiu-jitsu. And again, BJJ is more like a round. In the BJJ, when I started, there were no leg locks, but now it's loaded with leg locks, because why I should pass your legs when I can take the legs? So actually, Machado, why? Because they compete judo, jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, vale tudo, mixed martial art. So that give you to test your skills more. I'm not challenging my student to competition. I think it's a good tool, but it's better tool to come in the club and just role play. But if they want, it's okay. So what we say is Kapap is no more. Kapap is a short-term courses. The IJJ, the integrated jiu-jitsu, is a really loaded, full program from white belt to other belts. But again, because it's including Japanese martial art and judo, you need to know very basic judo. You don't need to be judo Olympic, because for me, judo Olympic is totally wrong. I see what they do, it's wrong. I don't blame them, because they want, if you want to be a champion in judo, you can concentrate only on judo. But I want to concentrate also on boxing. I want to concentrate, because you know, look at me, I'm 64. I cannot kick like when I was young. Young, I will kick your head. Now I have to take your head down and kick it. It's totally different philosophy. But look at old people, hands moving. That's why I'm concentrate a lot about boxing, but not like boxing, because in boxing you have gloves, and in street you don't have gloves. Yeah, you can do with open hand strikes, but I also punch. Just punch in the soft areas. So all of this developed like a new approach. Because you know, every time I keep studying martial art, one of my main quote is like always student, sometimes teacher. So on the same time I'm teaching, I try to study all the time. Even in my travel, if I meet like a Silat teacher, I will want to see what you do. Even if it's bad, I want to see. And then I think, oh, that might be good, or maybe improved like this or like that. And I think that that's what I say many times, Kapap, or what I do, is a bridge between systems. But if you look at me, I did judo, I did karate, I did BJJ, I did kendo, iaido, jodo, even kudo, archery, Thai box. So which system is best? Because I love those people. Oh, I train Krav Maga, it's the best system. And then I ask him, how many systems you train? Oh, only Krav Maga. So how do you know it's the best? I'm married twice. How do you know that your wife is the best? That's why you don't marry when you're 10 years old. You have to have girlfriends, and then to understand. So I think that when I create Kapap is when I come out from the top counter-terrorist unit in Israel and one of the five best in the world as a trainer and as an intelligent team member. And when I start to go to civilians, I was in a shock, because they all want to be Mr. Tough Guy. But I said, no problem. Tomorrow we start at 5 in the morning. At midnight, they're already like this. And I say, what's going on? I thought you want to train. But everyone wants to have I'm a commando, I'm a special force. They do not understand. And that's why I don't allow my students to come with a camouflage or all of this. If you want to be a Navy SEAL, go to be a Navy SEAL.
How to control them to be only the civilians on the mat, not the... Everyone wants to be the tough guy when he go to the gym.
I believe that it's all come from day one. And first, when a student come to my school, when I had the school in Los Angeles or New York, I don't allow them, for example, to come without sleeves. I don't allow them a lot of things. So, for example, if we do jiu-jitsu, they must have under armor and also pants under armor. And over that, the gi. And the reason is this is the biggest organ. People touch it and getting disease from the mat. The mat must be always clean. When I was even in Singapore, I had to force the students, say, no, you're going to clean the mat after finish. So vacuum cleaning, whip the floor, and wash it with antibacterial. The reason is, that a lot of people getting stuff. They getting just now. This guy, famous Ben
Askren,
yeah, he had like lungs
lung problems.
And you know, I had the student Yuri. Suddenly I see Yuri is dead. I'm like, what? Yuri is a gorilla. I show you videos of him, you'll be in a shock. Because we do capoeira, flip-flop, we're doing, in my training sometimes. He was such a great acrobat. He did sambo fighting, combat sambo fighting, BJJ, vale tudo. Guy died like this overnight. And that's why I say my age, you're strong. We will see. Strong is not forever. Look at Hickson Gracie, strongest fighter now, Parkinson. But those impact, those extra. This is why when I see now kids doing too much these fights, MMA, I'm worried. We don't have experience with it. I'm worried what happened with them in a certain age. You know, a lot of American football from the clinch, they get damaged brain. When they get 40, 50, it's a disaster. So I'm more soft about this. I don't challenge my students like chicken fighting. But you need to remember that in Brazil, they still have chicken fighting. And that's why their mentality is something like this. I'm totally don't agree with the Gracie. That's why I lost to Machado, because when I go to Gracie, it's like the guy come to me, you want to fight? I look at him, come on, you're joking. Attitude in a martial art. And when you go to Machado, immediately they hug, hey, come on, totally different attitude. I come to study with you, and look, my cousin, this guy is a master Apkido, my cousin punch him. Look, this is a master for, if you don't have respect for anybody, how could I respect you as a teacher? And by the way, I don't know if I fight Gracie in a street fight who's going to win. You understand? Fight good when you go in the jail. Believe me, in the jail, everyone will be my slaves. Everyone. Because character. Character is more powerful than martial art. People think that you do this and this. Character, and this is why my goal when I teach students is to develop character. I had students, two terrorists tried to kidnap him, but first they tried to cut his weapon, you know, and to take it. And he hold it, and they're fighting. And I told him they were amateurs, and he said, why? Because if it was me, I'll first stab you in the kidney. The pain is so bad, and then you give me everything. I don't fight. But he survived it. And he remembered, he said, I remember you like a crazy. If I fall on the floor, he said, get up. If not, you kick me and encourage me. And it reminds me my teacher, Kubo Akira Sensei, there's no way you're going on the floor. You can go on the floor, but you get up. That's when Japanese would say, fall 7 times, get up 8. I don't care if you fall, keep going. And a lot of time people are into the ego. Like I see kids, 10 years old, MMA, all of those signs. Come on, you're still a kid. You know, 15 years old will slap you even without martial art knowledge. Because force, power, is also technique, but we don't have it all the time. For example, you are big. I can train all my life. I'll not be big like you. So people that work out and they are strong, don't misestimate them. They might give you a good fight too. And you could see that even the guy hugged to you, even if you have beautiful techniques, sometimes it's hard to get out. That's why you need to know a lot. You need to know vital points. You need to know techniques to get out. You need to know how to escape your body, to create gaps so you can escape. And martial art, like I said, over everything, it's education. That's why in my school, when they come, I call it the interview. You come and I say, oh, what are you looking for? Oh, I want to be MMA. I send you to my enemy across the street. I say, he's doing that. Here it's for weak people, you know, because I want to pick up my student. And today, all the teachers, they open the legs. Please come, I give you black belt. Please, you work for your black belt. I don't give you nothing. You have to earn it. So, again, I was in many countries and I see them. Sometimes I smile because the weakness is here. People say, no, I do no gi. Why you do no gi, you know? Because they're afraid to put the white belt. I was 5th dan in judo when I started BJJ. So I could come as a black belt, I put a white belt. I even tell the Machado who I am. And only 6 months after, I go with the white belts. I want to see why they do this, why they do that. I didn't say, yeah, but in judo we do it like this. No, I'm looking. After 6 months, the guy says, and yes, but they respect me a lot because of this. Because even now, if I go and I'm a 4-degree black belt in BJJ, I never correct students. And I can come to a purple belt and say, what professor showed last week? Or, you know, I came just to visit, and he will show me. Because this is why all students sometimes teacher, we can study. But I go to Machado and I teach seminar. And I see some of the students, they compete, they grill, they put me on the grill, you know, like roasted pig, you know, already in their eyes. And professor said, oh, you come with me, and we're rolling the black belts. And then, you know, all of those purple, they want to challenge me because my size. Next day, I'm teaching seminar, and say, you come. And say, and then boom, I hit him, the guy knockout. He was in a shock. And then I smiled. I told him, yesterday you want to cook me, you know? And everyone laughed because they know the truth. When you need to fight, for example, I can go to judo and the guy will throw me, but I still do only judo. I go to karate, I'll do only karate. But if I mix everything that I know, it's very dangerous. And that's where IJJ come in. And that's why sometimes I teach to people that are better than me in BJJ, or I teach to people that are better than me in judo. And again, it's not from an ego. I was in a seminar in Holland. And a big guy, bigger than you, huge, strong guy, he always, I need a partner, he come. And I teach them how to disappear. Like I'm here and I'm on your back. And he always, you did, I did. Anyway, we finished the class and one guy told me, you know who's this guy? I said, no, this is the only guy that 2 times won in a combat sambo over Fedor, the famous UFC. And I said, oh God, thank you for not killing me, you know? The guy is a monster. But you see, he was very humble. He wanted to study from me because I'm a small guy. He's a big guy, totally different moves, how I take his back anytime. So maybe one day he know how to counter. And I had a lot of students, teachers that come. And even when I go to LA or to Texas now more, and Carlos Machado, which is a grandmaster, and I will show him things from CDC, for example, how to escape from handcuff, or different CDC stuff, or I will show things from Joe Machado, Professor Joe Machado, and I will show him gun disarming, and now he will be a student because this is not things that you do. And then I do BJJ, and I'll give you a knife, and then you grapple with a knife. So if you have a knife here and I put your balance and you have to put your hand on the floor with the knife, you get a problem to use your hand. So I have to calculate, because if I put you here, you can still use the knife. So it teaches you different grappling.
Yeah, you told me this morning that we have only like 1%, 2% of attacks that we know, but 98% attacks that we didn't know.
This is the truth. So if you put a circle and you take like a pizza, so all martial art we're training here for things that we know. That's why, for example, a Thai boxer go against a judo, both of them are in, because I know judo, you know judo, we know BJJ, but then you punch me, oh, what is that? So to cover those pizza that you know to punch, to grapple, to do, and then you complete. But still, you training for attacks that you know. What about the attacks that you don't know? What they think is like suddenly the guy throw the knife like this, like, you know, all of those jokes, you attack me wrong. But that's a street fight. But what I know that if you train properly with the good teachers, you don't need to worry. I'm telling you, I had students that get shot and I was laughing, who's shot? He will survive. If he survive my training, he'll be okay. And the guy got shot 5 times in the chest by terrorists. It's a joke, but look, if you train properly, you have more percentage to survive. But nobody will leave this place alive. But not everyone will die so fast. And in martial art, it's also to keep your mobility, that when you be 64 or 65, you still have my mobility. It's not just that 60 you go with a stick, and then 70 and 80 and 90. So for me, for example, Danny Nosanto, like a guru, he's a good model, because if you see, he's not young, He's like 80 something, he's still on the mat. Grandmaster Denis Sanover from Israeli martial art, he teach every day. Even now, he have like a sick electric thing to come, but he bring his wisdom. Because teacher bring wisdom. And that's another thing. Coach can teach technique, but not wisdom. You have no experience to see weakness in the students, weakness in the object. And this is totally different level why you became a sensei. I was 50 years old when my teacher, Kubo Akira Sensei, allowed me to sit near to him, you know, in the Shinzen. There's a line, all students, and we finish, and he says, here. Then he introduced me like Avi Sensei. Until then, I was Avi-chan, just another guy. And in Japan, you cannot be a sensei too young. You can be a champion, you can be, but you're not a sensei. Sensei bring more wisdom, more knowledge. And that's the difference in the West. I see them 25 years old. I was in a Hall of Fame. And you know, you pay money and they give you any certificate that you want. You have Israeli organization, they give you black belt in COVID time when there was no flights, the guy get a black belt. Who tests you? How do you know, you send money and you're black belt, you're instructors of the year, and I'm totally against them. I'm not going public, but I will never touch something like this. And I think that Kubo Sensei let me be cooked. And now I go to Hall of Fame, I see a kid, 10 years old, and he get lifetime achievement. What life achievement you have in the age of 10? You make homework. What kind of life achievement? So that's the difference between be a complete martial artist to not a complete. And I mentioned that as a teacher, different. A coach will teach you what to think. So a coach will teach you techniques like this, and teach you what to think. I teach you how to think. I'll teach you how to move from one to another, how to keep progress when I die or when I'm not near to you. And that's totally different, because a coach will teach you to be a mirror. Oh, look at me. Oh, look at me. Okay? And you'll be copy-paste. And that's, by the way, another problem of Israeli martial art. A lot of them do copy-paste. They see like this escape, you know, with the knee, with the BJJ, and immediately it's Krav Maga. No, you can teach it if you do BJJ. The reason is that you need also to understand there's much more than just this move and what you do with this. But a lot of them, they just copy-paste and call it Krav Maga. They call Kida. You cannot have Kida. Kida is a bow. Jewish people, we don't bow. You can never make me bow. Our first temple destroyed because we refused to bow for a statue. And the second one with the Roman, same. Jewish do not bow. It's in our religion, only to God. We don't bow. I never bow too, but I'm not a religion. You know, that's why my wife is Orthodox, but we keep because we respect each other. I don't want her to convert, she don't want me to convert, and we celebrate everything because, you know, it's always food, so it's good. But when I see in Krav Maga Kida, I'm just laughing. I mean, it's totally against like the culture, the religion. It's like in Japanese martial art, I will put shoes, when in Japanese we don't have shoes. But I think that before I came honestly to the market and wrote and explained, people, and they invent history, and so when I came to the market, they all have nonsense. And then they had to fight with me in their psychology. And now when I'm very well established, I say, ciao, I don't want nothing with Israeli martial art, you're by yourself. That's why I made it to integrated jiu-jitsu. I'm too much international person. I'm not Israeli, by the way, anymore. I finish it. I give my citizenship, and I'm Serbian. So maybe now I'm teaching Serbian martial art, isn't it? But I'm Serbian, proud Serbian. Now we're filming, for example, in Kalamegdan. We didn't go to the Kalamegdan itself, but why we are in the park of Kalamegdan? Because it's a victory. So when they asked Carlos Newton, Avi put a name like Kapap, so he was laughing. He says, only he can make those names. And he says, so what is Kapap? Kapap is win. It's no matter how, you must win. And you win by manipulate, by psychology, by many things, but the idea is to win, it's not to lose. So if, for example, somebody attack you and you beat him up, you lost. You go to jail, you go to problems. But if you keep walking and laughing and go to another spot, you keep your life. If you kill him, it's more problem. And if he kill you, it's total problem. So that's why I said it's also the psychology and everything. And this is why Carlos was with me for many years.
I wanted to ask you about him, Carlos,
Really?
the former UFC champion. So
Yes.
he was your student here.
Carlos came to me, I think 16 or 17 years old first time. He was like, I call him Mowgli, the jungle boy. He won a jiu-jitsu competition in Canada, in Toronto. A friend of mine was my teacher for judo, Moni Isaac, calling me, and because he immigrated to Canada, and he said, look, nice guy come, he's an islander, and I mentioned he's an islander because it has a meaning, and he will come to visit, and then he stayed in my house and everything. And one day, for example, I teach Carlos kendo. So, you put all this. And then he asked me to put the mask. I said, oh no, you don't want me to put the mask. He said, no, please put. I said, look, I put the mask, I beat you up so bad that your mama will not know you, because I changed my personality. And he was laughing, yeah, let's do it. And I have pictures of me, because the samurai come out, It's so we're laughing. But, Carlos, I saw something on him when he was young. He was very talented. And later when I discuss it with Professor Joe Machado, we call it the game. So sometimes you have a strong guy, and you take a guy, you're 150 kilo, you grab a guy 60 kilo, and you pin him to the floor, and that's it. But this is force. You don't have a game. And then you see a guy small, like Jean-Jacques Machado, and you say, oh, look at the game. He give you your hand and use it. I just teach it in Singapore. They say, I cannot pass your guard. Then, okay, I have to fish you. I have to put a hook, so I put my hand. You go to Kimura, I block it, and then I go out of you. Yeah. So it's a different things that, again, between my teacher, Kubo Akira Sensei, that was amazing. Took me many years to find teacher. Even Professor Joe Machado say all the time that when we met, and after a while, I told him I found my teacher, because it's very hard, but the more you have experience, to study from people that are useless. So you need really to find somebody really special. And Carlos is an islander. I mean, he can sleep here, but to only training, only to be a champion. Is very good as a philosophy. I like him a lot. We traveled to Mexico together. He lost the ticket. He's still in the airport. I mean, we have so many. That's why I say he's an islander. But he's a cute, very good soul, and amazing as a movement. Amazing as see martial art more than just beat up people. It was, in my opinion, the best MMA and UFC. I know why he out, but I think it was a weakness, spiritual, that took him out. But I always try to make him, Carlos, it's your time to become a sensei, to really go into character people, not only the athlete fun. But he was amazing athlete. When I brought him to Israel, many times I brought him to unit called Unit 33. In the hierarchy, it's maybe after Yamam, my unit. I brought him many times to Yamam. Sometimes I see pictures from that time, and everyone liked him. He's very good energy, so he played with them. He did like a UFC against everyone, but he's very gentle. He's a black belt also of Machado. I think Professor Carlos Machado, Professor Joe Machado, Hygiene Machado, I think the three of them signed his certificate as a black belt with a Machado. And I fly special for his ceremony. And so imagine I came from Europe, especially to LA, and from especially to South America from there, because it's to respect that he get black belt by same family. Carlos is very unique. I'm really honored to have him, I will say, more as a friend, and I like to tease him. If you see my texting to him, is always like, I don't want to say the words, but teasing him. And I hope that one day he will leave everything that he do and become a full-time teacher, because students will earn a lot from it. The only problem is that martial art really, to be a real teacher, you don't make a lot of money like the crooks, I call them, because the way it's directed, you know, you cannot be a real martial artist because you do karate, and they want you to dissolve a lot of karate things to concentrate on karate for competition, because that's bring medals. You come to your country with the medals, you get more budget. That's why MMA is this. I don't have anything against MMA, by the way. There was the Europe MMA in Serbia, in Belgrade. The
world in Europe, yeah.
The two brothers, Pariente, which running in the show in Israel, they're all two my students. And suddenly they tell everyone, there's 60 students of them, and say that's the guy that actually started BJJ and everything in Israel. And everyone, they don't know me, of course. I'm 25 years not in Israel. And now everyone that trained for 2 years, they think that he made it. But that's the same with when we talked about Krav Maga. I didn't make Krav Maga. I didn't make Kapap. I always, if you read what I say, Gershon Kopler, Michel Horowitz, I renewed the name. The name was Dai. And I want to teach people more about the real teachers, the real founders, and that's why I start to write about it. The people that are business Krav Maga, they didn't want, because they want to sell their nonsense, and so they see me as an enemy. But that's their problem, because I think that in life you need to be honest, and if you're honest, nothing can hurt you. You know, we say that a lie always have to dress, but the truth can go naked. So that's why it's so simple, and that's Carlos. But I'm really happy about my students, you know. Of course, not all of them are perfect, but it's like when you select tomato, you know, some, okay. but the one that you select and the one that stay with you, they're really great people.
He rises to the top, yeah. He rises to the top. So you mentioned that you and Carlos were practicing kendo and something like that. It's stick fighting. It's very important also in Kapap. So yes. How is stick fighting related to Kapap?
Like I say, they say that Michel Horowitz wrote the stick fight of, and in the old Kapap, in the Palmach time, they use a lot of stick fight. It was not like Filipino martial art. I must explain it. A lot of time when you see Filipino martial art, if you notice, if you put your hand like this, put your hand straight. So the blocks are here. You're not in a risk. If you see the stick is not going to your head, you stop here. You understand the difference if you don't do this. And that's why choreography, it's filming perfect. The second, if we fight in the streets and you pick up a stick, it will never be like Filipino martial art. It will never be so balanced. So actually you train yourself, it's good to train with it, it's good for coordination, it's good for many things, but sometimes people are illusioned that a real fight will be like that. And in the Kapap stick fighting, it's totally different. It's more street oriented. But even this, for example, like many times when you hit me to my head, the block like this. I have a crazy student, but he's a billionaire. And I train him Japanese swords, but the real swords. And sometimes when he attacks me with a real sword, he can kill me, and I'm like this. And I call my wife, says, please, cancel. I don't want to teach him anymore. No, he pay you very well. You know, like, so, but there's a lot of things that, for example, I study in Japanese martial arts that you block like this or like that. If this guy attack you, you cannot block like that.
So, at the end of this interview, you told me yesterday that you would like to make your own academy here in Serbia. So,
in Belgrade, yes.
Yeah. What can you say to the young people in Serbia that would like to try some new martial art?
I will say that to the parents more. Make sure that your kid is not injury. And I'm not talking about boo-boo, you know, I'm talking about If you break a knee and you're 10 years old, or you broke an elbow, it will never be the same. So to get a hit, it's okay. To throw and get a little bit, it's okay. But like I said, if I open an academy, I will have a floating floor. So it will not be this kind of size of a mat on a cement, because every impact go back to your body. That's the third rule of Newton. That's the third law of physics. And what I mostly do, I put suspensions, and then I put wood, and then I put the mats, and then I put a big thing over, so you can wash it. For me, make sure that your kid go to a school that is like a pharmacy. It's clean. It's not like sweat. Sweat is okay, but clean. They must come with a gi, because gi is like a big towel. And if I tell my students, sometimes you sweat, put a towel, take it out, keep rolling. Don't sit on the guy and dripping on him. So hygienic school must be the rule. No nails, clean gi, all the time wash your uniform, not go with it for 1 week. Safety first with hygienic, because hygienic is very important for your safety. The second, the teacher need to be really educator. I had a situation with some school, the guy called me, you have one of the trainers and the guy texting inappropriate to a 14, 15 years old, I say immediately out. Good as he good, he must go out, finish. The teacher must keep relationship like a teacher. It's like you're I see it now all over the internet. Mama dancing with, look at me, I'm sexy, dancing with my daughter. Father, no. Either you are a parent or either you are a friend. You can do both, but don't mix it. You understand? I run with my friends to the sea, so don't run with your father to the sea and smoke, okay? That's not the way to be a parent. And for me, the teacher is almost important more even than the parents. Because in my school, the kids have rooms. When they come, they must clean. First 5 minutes, the cleaning, even the school is clean. As educational, it's called SOJI. So if the school transfer them values and the school transfer for them moral, when to use it. I had a kid in Didenia. His mom called to a friend of mine that is bully, he recommend. I start to teach him private. The kid was bully all over. After 1 year, he destroyed everyone. But then he started to bully and I stopped teaching. I'm sorry. But what I teach, like I go in the US, before I make the name Kapap, I go like in the 90s, work with SWAT and work. And you know, everyone they see 4 legs and a tail, it's a dog. No, it's a cat. No, it's a donkey. But for us, that's why people mixing, oh, you're doing Krav Maga. You're doing, no, I'm doing what I'm doing. And this kid would bully kids, so it was time to stop it. You understand? I cannot teach you if you bully. So when you teach teachers, make sure that he pass values. He teach the kids also behavior. So they are not like MMA, I'm a macho, and then somebody pissed me off, I punch him or something. I will never hit my teacher. I will never hit my parents. So respect. And sometimes I see people, I'm 64, and I see some thug. Okay. Because martial art was not made for this, to create gladiators. Martial art is totally different. And this is why monitor me as a teacher, who I get into my school. And by the way, if you see videos that we will maybe play on the background, you will see jiu-jitsu, mobility, sometimes to be fast, sometimes to be slow, sometimes mobility exercise, sometimes gun disarming, knife fighting. It's a lot of study. It took me many years to do black belts in a lot of fields and to unitize it to one system. That saved my students to go and do the same work, because I feed the people that really want to do self-defense that thing. And I choose to open my academy in Serbia, first because I'm Serbian, my wife is Serbian, and second, I think Serbia is one of the best places in the world. Even people don't understand it, but I travel all over the world. This is a very, very good place. We still didn't lost all our values. That's why I say hold your horses, don't let the young kids too much. Because I see young parents spoil too much the kids. Kids become like, they will become a monster. You have to discipline. So I hope next year we will see here in my academy in Serbia.
Me as well. Thank you so much, Avi. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hvala vama, poštovani gledalci, što ste bili uz nas i ispratili još ovaj Arena Fight intervju. Do tada, naravno, ostanite uz najbolji borilački kanal, ostanite uz Arenu Fight jer je Arena Fight više od borbe. Prijatno!